Good evening, guys. My name is AlphaKCoaching. Welcome to Self Actualizers, where we kind of basically just interviewing real people who had went through real processes to get real results to become, right? It doesn't just happen overnight. So I have the pleasure to actually introduce my sister-in-law and get to get her name, her background, what she does for a living, and then we go right into it. Introduce yourself, what you do for a living, and I definitely want to thank you for being here with Self Actualizers for the first podcast.
Dorecia Hoffman. I've been teaching for 23 years. Didn't start off as a teacher, but that's what I've been doing for the past 23 years of my life.
All right, cool. So, I mean, teaching, I know it's people may know, but how would you explain it to a young person what a teacher is? Yeah, we can go start from there.
What a teacher is. Well, I'm an elementary school teacher. I think the different age group, there are different challenges that you deal with. Yeah. But it's just making sure you're trying to instill a love of learning, a love of knowledge, helping, children or, our students to be able to one day be able to become self-sufficient, to be able to take care of themselves. That's the overall goal. It's just, hoping that the children that you come across every day, eventually they're able to take care of themselves and be, a productive asset to society and just not
just there.
Just there. So that's that's what it is. It's, yes, it's teaching the curriculum, is, academics, but also, the social emotional aspect of it. You don't want to take on too much, but there is a lot that's being unloaded on teachers right now. We take it in stride, I think, but it's definitely my goal or any person that I know that go into education is making sure that you are building the future and making sure that each child that come across come into your classroom, that one day they have the opportunity to be a better human, to be a better person.
Yeah, which is great, because I feel like we don't really, like, we know teachers are there, and I feel like we never really talk in depth of like a teacher, define a teacher. Like, you're really creating the future. You're really building the foundation for that.
Building the foundation and working with even the parents, like, and often, we've been getting a lot of flack because we're just like, we're not parents. We're not the parents, But it's really having that relationship with parents. But 23 years, a lot have changed. But helping, the parents to understand, like I've said to even students and parents, like, at the end of the day, I'm not the enemy.
Makes sense. Which that makes sense. So would you call this becoming a teacher, would you call it a calling, a career, a job? How would you define
how it all started? How it all started and why? Why? How it all started and why? My earliest memory of myself, I'm from Antigua, born and raised. My earliest memory of myself that I could remember is being in Antigua and lining up like my little stuffed animals or just little things. I remember, and I had this little blackboard back then, blackboard, and I had chalk. And I remember just lining up my little stuffed animal, doll, whatever it is I had, and I would pretend to be a teacher. So it's...
What age is this, like?
I'm thinking this is probably maybe 4 or 5 years old. Like, that's my earliest memory of me just doing that, just playing and being a teacher. And
that's cool.
In the islands, teachers, they're very strict. So it's like I remember I had this little blackboard that I don't know who I got it from, but I had a blackboard and I had and I would be teaching and they're not listening, and you're not listening, and it's just it's like, so I remember that.
Interesting.
So I'm, I think early on that's what I knew because that's what I saw. And
but did you see that from like an adult, or you just kind of like, or just from just being in school, and it was just like?
It's from going to school because I started school very, very young. My mom always said they got me in school right away because I had too much chat.
Okay.
So being from the islands, the majority of the people you see look like you. So it's just like, you know, those were the careers. And I don't know. I guess it was, I don't want to say it's destined, but I do remember me playing and just being a teacher. That was how I played.
Okay. So would you call it a career, a job, or calling at that point? At this point now that you knowing that you saw
back,
that,
I think it was a calling. I always had a love for teaching. I always wanted to be a teacher, but you know, as you get older, everyone's just like, well, you want to be a doctor, right? And I was like, okay, I do like taking care of kids,
right?
You know, but then do I really want to be a doctor? You know, and then as you get older, you start taking classes.
Right.
You know, because like, well, everyone thinks I should be a doctor. Okay, I'm going to be a doctor, and you take some classes. It's like, this is not.
This
for
not
me.
for you. But,
this
okay,
is not for me.
Cool.
The medical,
so I know we're gonna get into that too and more in depth because it's like, you know, get to kind of see that journey. I would love to hear about it because I know it's not overnight, but just to see that you had that.
Yeah, I remember my earliest memory. Like I remember is me playing a teacher.
That's cool.
So
that's cool.
You know,
so then, now what does like a day look like
as a teacher?
As a teacher.
A day, wow.
I know it's very broad, but
it's very broad. But for me, it's getting up very early. My school day starts at 8 o'clock. Students are in at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
I like to get to work the latest by 7:15 because, and I've always been the type of teacher. I'm going to get there early because I need everything set up ahead of time so that I could just teach. I could, you know, work with the kids.
So flow,
I need to get my flow started, and you know, you get a lot of flack. A lot of people just like, oh, they're getting there right. That's not me. I've never been that type of teacher. I'm getting there early to make sure that everything is ready and prepared for the day.
Interesting.
It's not a job, and many people think it's a job. Like from 8 to 2:20, the students are with us, and it's like you're just teaching all day. No.
Okay.
That's
okay. So we can really break that stigma or that idea.
It's not.
Okay.
First of all, we have 7 periods a day, for the most part.
Okay.
Kids have lunch period, and you have what's called your planning preparation period. With everything that has to get done, there's no way you can get that done in 45 to 50 minutes.
Right. Which is kind of crazy, right?
It is. So as a teacher, many of your time on your weekends or even at home is you planning and preparing and differentiating lesson and making sure that everything is ready.
Okay, which makes sense.
You know, so it's not 8 to 2:20 or to 3 o'clock. It doesn't end there. You're constantly.
So even you just coming home and working and that component.
Coming home, you're dealing with your home stuff, making sure if you have a family, your family is okay. Doing homework with your kids, everything, and then going back and reflecting on the day, looking at what you've taught that day, what worked, what didn't work.
Okay, so you
creating lesson plans and making sure that the lesson plan that you created is meeting all the needs of the kids in your class, because you got to teach to every single need of your kids. So or even just going through a scenario, something that happened that day, could I have handled it better?
Right.
Just reflecting on the lesson. Such and such didn't get it. What can I do to make sure they get it? So it's just, there's no
your day, right? Your day is just right. So,
right.
But I mean, I guess like you said, it wasn't just straight through, but it's also like planning accordingly so it can be better the next time.
Better the next time.
But then you do the same curriculum for every class, per se, or you try to change it every time. It all depends.
We have a pacing. So the pacing schedule is given in terms of these are the lessons that have to be taught. These are the standards that you need the kids to be able to meet with any particular lesson. So an elementary school teacher, you're teaching all of the subject, whereas middle school and high school, those teachers have different, specialized areas. So if you're an ELA teacher, you're doing ELA, whereas in elementary school, you're doing it all.
Okay.
So
we're gonna talk
you
more.
have your math lesson that you're planning for. You have your ELA lesson that you're planning for. Social studies, science, your social emotional lesson that you're planning for. So it's just
it's so many layers, not just specific to
it's
one.
not yes.
Okay, so again, that makes it different. I see why you could probably even have to come home and plan according as well.
Plan accordingly and
All
make
right.
sure.
So, but was this always your plan to work in this field? Like, did you have a? I know you talked about 4 years old. You was teaching, but like, was that initially your
No.
plan?
No.
Okay, so let's so that if not, so then what what changed?
What changed?
If not, I mean, I know you said it wasn't, but like, what changed? Or when did it change? Like, you know what I'm saying? So how did it change? Like, what was the journey like?
Once I got into, like, middle school, high school, again, it was pushing becoming a doctor.
Right.
So I went to a high school, Manhattan Center for Science and Math, because it's a high school that science and math, going along that field.
That makes sense.
Love science, enjoy science, math, so
It just worked out for that particular moment.
Right. So that was my path. I was going to be in the medical field in some way.
And you knew that from like high school.
High school, yes. And I knew that because exposure is a thing.
Yes.
And not being exposed to different career path and all you know of is either teacher, doctor, lawyer.
Right.
That's just what you did. So for me, that's all I knew.
Makes sense.
So that's what I was going to do. I was going to just be in the medical. What else is? I'm not exposed.
So when did you feel like it changed? Like
when I went into college. I went to Hunter College. I got into college. I
did classes.
Pre-med major.
Right.
That's that was the goal, and I started taking prerequisite classes, and I was just like, biology kicked my butt. To be honest, like it just did great in high school, but now on the college level, I was just like, and then the lab, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. It's not what I want to do, and I joined. They had a Caribbean student association club there.
Okay.
And I joined that. And you just got to meet different people. And you heard the different majors that they were doing. And and I met, different people. We had an advisor. His name was Gerald Robinson. He was an advisor to the Caribbean Club. And he also worked like in student services.
Okay.
And it was through him, like he exposed me to, like, there were different careers, different things that you could look into and do.
Okay.
And he suggests, why don't you do an internship to see what's out there that you could do?
Okay, that makes sense.
So it was that.
That made you pivot.
That made me pivot. It was just like, the communication field. And he was like, it's so broad. You could do so much in communications. And I was just like, really? Because I just thought communications are, is media. Like,
right.
You're on the news.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, but it's so much more to that. And I think that's where the pivot was. I was like, oh.
Interesting.
And I started taking some media courses. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is, but what am I going to do? And then I took his advice. I applied for an internship.
Okay.
Got an internship at HBO.
Wow.
In their affiliate sales and marketing, and that exposed me to the corporate world, the media world, network and what it entails.
Yeah.
So it was that opened my eyes to different things that I could possibly do.
Okay.
And then from there,
because I know that's another pivot. So it's like it's another pivot, but it's like it's just cool to see like an individual spoke to you.
Yes.
So it was like
And he
you
was
was
an
going
advisor.
your way,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and he advised
Right,
you.
because
Like you said, exposure is everything.
exposure is everything. It's like I didn't know. Yes, I know people had corporate jobs. You could work in the bank. You could,
Right.
work for health insurance. You could,
Right.
but those things just felt like jobs. They didn't seem like a career.
Okay, that makes sense. Yes,
and for me, I wanted a career. I wanted something that I could build on and really, I just didn't want a job that.
You just pay the bills and just get a
right.
paycheck.
And then,
So then how did you go from that to then teaching?
work in corporate.
Okay.
So after my internship, I was like, yes, I really love this. This is what I want to do. Got my first real job out of college at Fox Sports in affiliate sales and marketing. Enjoyed it, it was sports network, so it was very male dominated. So it's just, you just kept seeing at the top, it was just like, oh man. And we then had a female director that came in. And I was like, and she was black. And I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Wow, that's cool.
But I saw her struggles, and she tried to, like hide them. So like, not to discourage.
Okay.
But still, I was just like, her ideas weren't really listening. They weren't really listening. It was just, she was into sports. She knew her sports, but it was just still.
It was still that.
It was still that
role, that dominant male.
Exactly.
Those days, right?
And then for me, I was just like, this was a great start. I enjoyed this. I learned a lot, but this network isn't for me.
Okay.
So then.
So that's what you started.
I then went to Lifetime Television.
Okay, so you stayed there. So now, what would you say? How long were you in the film,
the media,
extended film media?
So I was after college. After college, so this was now maybe 2 years. 2 years of being at Fox Sports, and then I was like, okay. So I applied for different networks. And I landed a job at Lifetime Television.
Okay. That was after 2 years post-college, and then that field that you was in.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it there. I did, because the shows, Lifetime it's women. It's women's television. So to go from male down, so it was nice. I enjoyed it. At the time, I think Carol Black was the president, if that was her name, and it was great. The network, I mean, they were doing well, but I found that, like, I wasn't really happy. It wasn't the path that I really wanted to, I was just like, I'm working to make some other people rich.
Okay.
I'm not being impactful.
Now you're seeing a bigger picture.
I'm seeing the bigger picture.
Okay.
And also, too, many of the places that I went, because our team traveled a lot, I didn't see many people that looked like me, female, black, or even black male. So I was just like, why aren't more of us taking up these spaces?
Yeah.
So that's when I was just like, it's like, I want to teach.
Okay.
It was just like
it was just a statement.
I was just like, I want to teach. I want to be able to let children who look like me understand that there's more out there than just. There's nothing wrong with being a lawyer, doctor, or what, but it's just we need to take up more space. We need to be in this environment more because there wasn't a lot, and being told like, you're not like most black girls I know, and I'm just like, what does that mean? What black girls do you know? Do you really know?
Especially
that exactly. There isn't much of us here.
Right.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So now I guess now that you said you said I'm going to be a teacher. So what did that look like when it came to now? I guess you have to go back to school.
Yes.
What was that? Okay. So what was that journey now looking like?
So it was just like I'm calling up the Department of Education, trying to find out, the path to become a teacher. There was a teacher fellows program, but when I made the decision that I was going to do that, it was like past the cutoff time in which they were accepting second careers, like, people who wanted to get into teaching.
Yes.
You could leave and they would put you through school and, get you a job in teaching. But by the time I realized the deadline had already passed, so I was just like, I could wait another year and then apply the following year, or I could take matters into my own hands.
Right.
So we had a family friend who was a teacher. I remember him saying, there's some tests you have to take.
Okay.
You have to get into like a master's degree program and stuff like that. But you need education credits, and I didn't have any education credits because I was a media major.
Correct.
So it was just like, how am I going to do this? It's like, you know what? I'm going to register to take the test. It's like, well, you need some type of teaching background to take the test. And I was like, well, I don't care. I'm just going to do it.
Wow. Calling.
Yeah, I was just like, so I spent my money, and, there was like, okay, it's 2 of the tests that you have to take. They're 4 hours long. Don't schedule them on the same day. I'm going to schedule them on the same day.
Okay.
One after the other.
All right. Okay.
It was back then. It was the LAST and ATSW. I think I don't even know what it stands for. I was just going to do it.
Okay.
Alpha and I said, if I pass these tests, then I'm going to do it.
Right.
If I didn't pass the test, then maybe I would just continue in the
media. Okay.
But there were other issues that I don't want to get into.
That's fine. Of course.
So I registered to take these tests, paid my money, and I took the test.
Okay.
A couple of weeks later, got the result. I passed the test. So I was just like,
that's
okay,
wild.
It's meant to be.
Yeah, at that point.
Because, the family friend, he was just like, oh, man, I took the test several times. It's a hard test. And I was like, really?
But you see how people try to it can almost give you like fear by planting those seeds.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to see. Let's just see what happens.
Wow.
And I passed the test. And I was like, all right, now what do I do with this?
Yes, correct.
So I remember taking off of work and going to Bronx district office with just my test results. I was like, where do I go from here? What do I do?
There's no guidance. So you literally had to ask your way.
Ask my way. And they were just like, why are you here? And I was just like, well, this is a district office. How do I become a teacher? I already graduated school. This will be a second career for me.
Correct.
And they were just like, well, we have this program in which we're offering something called an internship certificate.
Okay.
That you can begin teaching if you have completed half of your master's degree credits program.
Yes.
But you have to get into a master's degree program. I was like, so how do I do that?
Wow.
It was just like, well, you will find out from the school what the criteria are and stuff like that. So, I contacted Hunter, Lehman, all the CUNY schools.
Right.
And stuff, and many of them said you would have to go back and take some education classes and then apply to the program. And someone mentioned, well, they have these teaching colleges, whatever, like Toro College. They have these teaching programs. Look into that.
Yeah.
They're just like, they're not, like the Hunter and all the other CUNY, all these
names.
Other. However, they do have a master's degree program that you could look into. And I was just like, okay. So I called Toro College, and they was just like, well, you still need a background in education and stuff.
All right.
You would have to. And I was like, however, because working corporate and most of what I did was sales and marketing and teaching people about the network and what the network,
That's kind of like teaching.
Yeah. So I don't recall how, but They were able to, from looking at my undergrad media transcript, what I did at my job, having the executive vice president, who, she actually left teaching to go into corporate, and at one point she was like, if this is what you really want, so she was like, I'll
vouch for yourself,
write up a recommendation for you. And so she wrote up the recommendation. I went in, and one of the things I look back at younger me, I was like, man, I was really bold. I was just
I was going to tell you that. Like, that was hunger. And you just wanted what you want.
And I was going to take no.
Right.
So it's like I look back at the younger me now.
Right.
And I'm like, man, I was kind of, whereas bold. Now I'm like, I'm not saying that I'm not, but I was a lot more bold.
Yes.
So, I asked to speak to the president of the program. The program.
Oh, wow.
I came in with with everything, and they were just like, well, he can't speak to you. And I was just like, why?
Wow.
I was like, I want to get into this program. Here I have everything that
you needed.
Yeah. And then they came back up. They was like, all right, you can register.
Wow.
And that was it. I registered for classes at Toro College while working at Lifetime Television, because I needed to complete at least half of my
curriculum,
the credits to be able to get that internship certificate so I could begin teaching.
Wow.
Because other than that, you would have to do student teaching, and it was just going to be tricky trying to navigate working and like taking time off, because at that time I was just like, I have responsibilities. I got to pay bills and stuff like that. I cannot not work.
Correct.
So I did. I took vacation time and whatever, and
I took off.
Yeah, I took classes. They had a campus in the city on 23rd Street, and then another one in Brooklyn, Coney Island. And that time I was in the Bronx.
You was in the Bronx, so you already know how that travel was. And you wasn't driving?
No, I wasn't driving.
Oh, wow.
I had my license, but I wasn't driving. So it was me.
Okay, it was trooping.
Yeah, taking weekend classes and night classes and traveling to get to the classes and going to work and studying and trying to get it done. And I just you
just had the hunger, the willpower, and nothing was stopping you.
It wasn't going to stop me, because that's just what I wanted to do. So
amazing.
Yeah, I remember just.
I mean, again, sometimes it's really good to look back, right? I always say you can only connect the dots looking back, and it's kind of like.
Yeah.
And it's like
I'm looking back now. It's like, wait a second, wow, And I it's what I wanted to do. So I did it.
Yeah, it shows me that's a calling for sure.
Yeah.
So let's pivot. But that was awesome. That was awesome. So, like, what are some challenges people don't really see in your field as a teacher? Some of the challenges, especially now. I mean, you've been there for over 20 years. I know there's many challenges you've seen, but anything that speaks to you that
I mean, as a teacher, sometimes you feel like you're at the bottom. No one listens to you, especially you're the one with the kids.
Right.
Every single day in, day out. It's just the main challenge. I feel like sometimes we're not heard. Oftentimes it's like, you need to do this, you need to, and it's just like, I hear you. However, it's
based
not
off your experience,
working.
right?
It's not working.
Yes.
So that's the main challenge is and so much. The expectation is just like, it's up here. It's just like,
especially with I feel like the time frame you guys have. It's like, it's not so many, like, there's only so many time in the day, and it's like
you could get things done,
right?
And everyone wants everything to be done, and they think that the kids come to school and they're sitting perfectly like
right,
eager to learn,
right?
And
no, they're
that
not.
is far from the case. It's just like you may have a few that's come in and they're eager to learn, they want to learn, but you have others that are deal with other issues that are beyond your control, and now you're trying to appeal to that kid that's hunger and hunger for learning and want to learn, and they're participating, they're excited to be in school, and you have the kids who they're dealing with other issues that has nothing to do with
actual class or schoolwork,
and then
you still gotta perform.
The expectations sometimes it's just it's a lot.
Yeah, it's unrealistic.
It's challenging, and then you have behavior issues, and you have admin. They're number driven because numbers is so they want to see those numbers. They want to see the test scores go up. They want to see the kids in school. They want to see all the stuff so we can continue to get funding and to continue to get all the things. And then as a teacher, you just want the kids to learn.
To actually learn. That's what your passion was, them learning. So I feel like it goes from like movement to that. It doesn't go from achievement. It goes to just movement. Like just move them on.
Yeah.
When all you want to do is like, I want this child to achieve and
learn it, and because I kid you not, when the kid gets it, when they are learning and they get it, and they're looking at you like, and they get it, it's a celebration. It's just like, yes, it's just like
it's a feeling.
It's a fulfilling feeling.
Okay.
So it's when you see that they're struggling and you're trying everything to help them to get it, it's just, and it's not, and you're saying to the parents, hey, this is what I'm noticing. They're like, no, we're not going to go that route. No, this is, you're going to admin. It's like, hey, I think this kid is like, it's like, are you guys listening to us? We're telling you.
So it's like, how do you, like, that's what, because I can see like feeling wise, like, you feel like you're like failing in a sense, like I'm failing these kids.
Yeah, you're failing, yeah.
So did you ever feel like you had a moment where you questioned, continuing this path? I mean, of course.
Recently.
Yeah. Okay.
When I first started, no.
Okay.
Loved it, enjoy it. The older I'm getting, and the behavior is taking up so much more of your time that you actually feel like you cannot teach.
Daycare. Nah.
Yeah, and then they're just like, well, maybe if your lessons are more engaging for the children, and it's just like,
that's tough.
Engaging. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, that's tough.
Like I'm trying here, It's
because like, how do you engage with this behavior plus the kids that actually want to learn plus
because
everything else. Interesting.
Especially an elementary level. I mean, middle school and high school, they're dealing with so much more. Sometimes it's just like, all right, we need to take a step back in order to move forward. Where I was like, no, we're not taking a step back. We're just going to continue. But we're moving forward. And we're just moving forward, but there are gaps.
Yeah. That's the part. It's the gap part. It's like, but there's no...
The gaps aren't being filled.
There we go.
It's just...
It's bandages, but it's not really... They're not really like...
Yeah. Do I still love it? It depends on the day.
Okay.
It does.
That's being real.
It really depends on the day. And sometimes, my husband always says, it's just like, you don't have to get all of them, but if you can just get a few.
I think that's a better way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's true. I definitely heard of a story like that, and it's like, the little girl said, there's so many fishes, and she picks up the fish and she throws it in the water, and he's like, baby girl, you can't keep just taking the fish, but I saved this one, and I saved this one. Yes, it's hundreds, but the fact that you was able to save and put that one in the water, that's still a fulfillment. It's still doing your calling, and it's granted, I'm sure you have a bigger scale, but I guess there's different ways to do it. I guess
there are different ways. There are different ways, and then I've even been asked, like, what about further and becoming a principal or assistant principal, and
Which
it's
makes
not
sense.
that I don't want to, but it would have to be on my terms in terms
Okay.
of how I would run the school. Because I just see so many of the assistant principal and principal. It's just like, they're being told what they need to do, and
Right.
so
So
it's
it's like
just
you're running just to fulfill the higher ups at that point,
higher-ups,
opposed to like saying, I really see the gaps, and I'm creating a curriculum that's going to fulfill these gaps on my own terms, not to fulfill your numbers. That's tough.
That's tough.
That's tough.
And then I also feel I'm more impactful in the classroom because
that makes sense. You're on the ground.
you're more one-on-one with them.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, sure. Because then you would change and be more with the other professionals, and that's your passion was the little 4-year-old girl who was talking to the kids and saying,
listen.
Okay, all right.
But and just inspiring them, I guess, it was like to just want more. And I always say to the kids, I'm like, I teach in the Bronx.
Right.
And I was like, have you always wanted to teach in the Bronx? You don't want to, teach elsewhere? I was like, no, I want to work with kids that look like me.
Correct.
So that they can also
Be
see.
inspired. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She looks like me and she's a teacher.
Yes.
She looks like me, That could be my mom.
Right. Just to see a positive figure. And you may not see it today, but tomorrow they do. I'm sure you've probably seen kids who are like, oh my God, Miss Hoffman, I remember you.
Yeah. I mean, my first class that I teach, they're going to be 28 this year.
Wow. That's a big deal.
They're going to be 28.
Okay, let's talk to those 20-year girls. So those 20-year-old kids is like, I want to aspire to be a teacher. What skills or habits should they start like building now?
For
Or even
whether a
younger one,
teacher
right,
or anything
right.
that, in terms of you want to do, you've really want it. You have to really want it. I mean, it sounds cliche, but you really have to want it and work towards it.
Yeah.
It's like just speaking to you, and I said, I look back at myself, I was like, wait, I was bold.
Yeah.
Wow, I was a lot bolder when I was younger than I feel like how I am now. And it's like that's just what I wanted, and I was going to go after it.
Right. But you wanted something.
I wanted something.
Right.
And, I say to the kids now, I have this new thing that I say to the kids, because I teach science now. So I have 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So I see every 3rd grader, every 4th grader, and every 5th grader that's in my school. And one of the things I started saying since the beginning of this year is like, I'm living my dream. And they look at me as like, what? It's like, I'm living my dream.
Yeah.
I said, I wanted to become a teacher. And I did what I needed to do to become a teacher. So I'm living my dream.
Literally.
Literally. So whatever it is that you dream or want to do, do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
It's like, so, and I said, something like, but a teacher who, I said, well, you may look at it like, yes, but
living my dream.
we're impactful, and I'm living I'm doing what I always wanted to do. So it's for you to now live and do what it is that you feel that you want to do.
And I feel like because it's like one thing is like work. It's like they don't really know what the teacher live, right? So like I feel like it's great, but I think this is now the time where the teachers can really show, like, yes, I'm a teacher, but there's a life outside of a teacher. I mean, think about it. When we were kids, I mean, I never knew, like, I used to go on vacation and come back. I'm like, wow, the teacher has a tan. Like, oh, you travel? Wow. So it's like, you have a life outside.
You have a life outside.
So literally you fulfilled, and you're fulfilling for your family.
For family. And then, the whole thing is like, oh, they have all these breaks off. Teachers, they're complaining. I said, We're contracted to work a minimum of 180 school days. That's our that's what we get paid for. We get paid for 180 school days, and that is broken down for the 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
Like, so that's how it is. If we do decide to work summer school, that's separate. So that's an additional pay that you're going to get for working summer school.
Right.
Teaching, it is draining because it's a lot happening. You're the CEO of your classroom,
Correct.
okay? Because you
Correct.
are managing everything in your classroom, like
To the
everything.
team, basically. Yeah.
You know, it's like a mom. You know, or whoever the household,
Right.
your manager, your CEO, you're running everything, you know, so you're running everything in the classroom. You know, you're looking at each student, you're looking at numbers, who's making gains, who's not making gains, what you're going to do to make sure, you know, Alpha, I'm noticing he's not getting this, and you know, when you assess, you see he's not. All right, so what am I going to do to make sure that Alpha gets to the next level, the next step? So it's
Wow.
like you're constantly going over data and information
Right.
that you're teaching.
Right. And you have to
know?
take that and then
And they're
come up with a
different.
strategy, and so just like anything.
So
in
it's like, you
business.
know, so you're given different assessments.
Oh, do it so I can see if there's a volume sound.
I already started recording.
Oh,
That's good.
They're
Some
recording.
little behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Can you hear it? You can press play. To make sure that our microphone.
Check and see if everything is good. So I want you to come here now and see.
delete some of them if you need.
Go ahead.
You good? So I'm gonna just transition into it. No, keep going. So I'm gonna go to the last one, I guess. So the last question will be: how can youth learn more about this career path or connect with you in a sense?
If you wanted
If you want to become a teacher.
become a teacher, or you know, become an educator, definitely you're gonna have to go through college, of course.
Of course.
One of the ways is definitely when you are in school, seeking your advisor.
Yeah.
You know, making
Good
sure that
concept. Yeah.
you have an advisor and speak to an advisor. And I just want to say this. One of the things when I look back at in terms of when I was in college or my younger self, asking questions. We need to get out of this mindset where we're either afraid to ask questions
Yeah.
or we're feel like, you know, the question is a dumb question. If you really don't know, just ask.
Just ask.
And if someone is going to have an attitude with you, be like, wait, you don't know? No, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm asking.
Correct.
So I say this to anyone who is traveling the path. They're unsure of what it is that they want to ask the questions.
Yeah.
You know, just say,
That's good.
what do you do?
Right.
Asking someone, what do you do?
Right. Right.
How did you
Even get there.
Get there?
Right.
Just ask.
Correct.
And if the person's like, I don't want to get into it, then all right, that's the person you didn't. But don't let that discourage you. Ask someone else.
Correct.
Just ask, because a lot of, not that I regret, but a lot of the path that I traveled, it was the path for me.
Right.
However, had I asked questions, my path would have been different.
Right.
So when I look back at my younger self, or, you know, and I say this to my son who's a freshman in college, and I say to him, keep asking questions. You may think they're dumb questions, or people may think, oh, wait, you don't know that. No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. So just always ask.
Question.
Just ask.
So that's funny, 'cause I was gonna say, what would you tell your younger self? That one advice.
Just ask.
Just ask.
Just ask the question. Just ask. And we all have felt it. Where it's just like, you want to ask the question, but you're
But
like,
you're like so scared.
you're so scared. Just ask it.
Just ask. The worst thing that can happen is
Either person said, I don't want to talk to you, no, whatever, but just
ask.
ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Hoffman.
That's
Mrs.
my advice.
Hoffman.
Hoffman.
Thank you for Yeah, thank you for your time. Thank you for this interview. Get to see the insights in teaching and being a self-actualizer. Dory, we're gonna have some tools and some products soon, and give you for thanking you for your just giving your time. And again, I thank you, especially representing Black and Brown community. I'm
Black
big on
and
that
Brown
right now.
community, yes, and I hope we do have more young folks who are inspired to become teachers.
Yeah.
And really talking to our community and letting us understand, you can't as a child, you can't control
outcomes and
your life. This is what it is, your child. However, what you can control is how, if a situation isn't working for you, how you can navigate or get out of that situation.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in the South Bronx.
Yeah, the navigate.
Hated it.
Yes.
Like, it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like living in an apartment building because, people didn't care and it smelled, and it was just
all those painful things.
Yeah, and it was just like, but this is what my family could afford.
Correct.
I can't do anything about that.
At that moment.
However, at that moment,
correct.
And my mother, she said, the only way you're going to get out of this is you have to change that. Like, this is what it is for me. Like, I'm trying, but, what do you,
That's
and I was like, all right.
That's deep.
Say less.
And I saw it. You was you was asking, what can I do with that? But again, you are a living testimony of real results. You went through a real process, and it's not simple. But again,
it's not simple. It's going to take work.
That's it.
It's going to take work.
So you hear that, guys?
You put the work in.
Put the work in.
Put the work in. It sounds cliche, but just put the work in.
Yeah.
Put it in.
Thank you again.
Yes.
All right, y'all. We out of here. Woo.